Good afternoon, good evening, whatever it may be for you folks. This is the Giants Guys. I am Craig Santucci, your host, and if you don't know my ugly face, I have been half of the Giants Guys for quite some time, and it's 2020. We're doing new things. We're doing things differently. But we must say that Giants Guys was originated with John Fennelly and myself. John Fennelly's no longer here, so you're stuck with me. But as you well know, I'm also the owner and operator of nygiantsrush.com. And I decided to do something different for 2020. So you're now listening to the Giants Guys. And guess what? I have all four of my peeps, my crew, my guys. I've got Jeff. I've got Michael B. and Spiro here. I'm going to introduce you to them. I'm actually going to let them talk. And we're going to see what they have to say about our 2020 New York Giants. Now, so we will probably do maybe an hour show. We thank you for all your readership, your fellowship, all that good stuff. We'll definitely get over you pain in the asses that are constantly debating me on Twitter nonstop. I have work to do, people. Leave me alone. Okay? Leave me alone. All right, so let's start off first. Spiro, I'm going to go down to Spiro. I don't even know where I found Spiro. He found me, maybe. Maybe I found him. But I'm going to introduce you to Spiro. Spiro, what's up, my friend?
How we doing?
Good. I'm glad you made it.
Good to be here.
And Spiro, I need to know, so there, when I first met you, you had this picture, like you standing on a sign somewhere. Like on the road. What's up with that?
Yeah, that was so my middle name is Sarkis. So there was just a place off Route 9 all the way up in New York State. And Sarkis Auto we just passed by it. So I was like, pull over the car. I gotta touch the sign. All right. And I got me touching my middle name right there. You don't see Sarkis anywhere. So I had to get it.
Because I've known Spiro now for probably 2 years or more, and I'm like, I gotta ask him about the sign. Okay. Mike B, welcome to the Giants Guys. And by the way, this is the first time for all you guys. You are now part of the Giants Guys. So Mike B, what's happened? Mike B just had a baby, which we could talk about for hours because we're all dads, but we're not going to do that. But Mike B, welcome aboard, my friend.
Great to be here. Thanks for having me. What's going on?
Of course. And last but not least, our host today, because you're actually using his account and not mine. See, it's a family affair. Jeff Pilgrim, and you know the Pilgrim's Point is my man Jeff. What's going on, Jeff?
What's up, guys? It's good to finally see these faces, these guys that I battle with on Twitter every day and share their stuff all day. It's good to see everybody and get together.
Yeah, no doubt.
Absolutely.
And there's plenty to talk about because we've got a draft coming up. We just ended free agency. We sucked again in 2019. I have a lot of pain, people. So if you don't know by now, I have a lot of pain, okay? My dad bought Giant season tickets with a couple guys in a bar in Patterson. We've had season tickets in the family since '67. I've only missed 4 games since 1984.
Damn.
And it's not easy. It's dedication. I'm a little bit manic on Sundays. Ignore most of my tweets on Sundays. I played high school and college ball. I love football. I love the Giants. These guys love the Giants. That's why they're here cranking out content for you guys. So what we're going to do is a little kind of round table, PTI kind of style. Hope I don't get sued for saying that. But I'm gonna give these guys a topic. And guys, before you jump in, I'm gonna read the topic, and then I'm gonna start with somebody. Like I'll go to someone, and then the next guy could jump in. So what we're going to do is, and then I'll kind of commentate at the end, but I want to let you guys go because we do have a lot to talk about. And I'm sure you guys will agree that this might be the first time in a long time where we're in uncharted waters with the Giants because we've got young coaches. We have a brand new quarterback after 16 years. Like there's a lot going on. So I'm going to start with something fun, which has got everybody's panties in a bunch. Okay, including mine. So I'm not letting myself off the hook here. You know, that's why these guys, if you ever notice, they never respond to my tweets because they're like, oh, Santucci's on a rant. Okay, so question number one would be 2020 free agency. We just ended it. And the question, I'm going to start off, Mike B, we want to start off with you. Did the Giants do enough in the 2020 free agency period?
All right. Love the question. I'm going to say yes. I don't think they could have done much better given that a lot of the top flight guys were tagged. And I think we learned a little bit from overspending on certain positions. Don't look further than 2016. So rather than overpaying for guys, I thought they got some really good deals in terms of bang for your buck. The most expensive guy was James Bradbury, the corner. He is known for his tight coverage in man-to-man specifically, and I think that this defense is going to do a lot of that. What I love about the signing of Bradbury is that it moves Ballantyne, Beal, and Baker to covering 2, 3s, and 4s. And what did Bradbury do the last few years? He went up against Julio Jones, Michael Thomas, went up against Mike Evans in the NFC South. So he's battle-tested. His numbers against those guys is pretty impressive considering. And again, all those other youngins, the killer bees, let's call them, Bradbury, Beal,
Ooh,
Baker, and Ballantyne.
look at you go.
Did you just come up with that? That's nice.
You know what? I tweeted it out when they first signed him, and it kind of stuck.
I'm
No,
going to
don't
find that
tweet.
and share it.
Yeah, don't tweet that. We're going to make shirts. Hold on to that stuff.
The killer bees. So I think that just from a pecking order standpoint, those guys are going to be able to cover lesser receivers, so that helps. And then Blake Martinez, there's a lot of mixed emotions on him. People love him, people hate him. The bottom line is he's a leader. He's a coach on the field. He's going to get guys in the right position. And if you just watch him play, like he's always around the ball, right? Like he's always making a tackle. And the PFF followers might say that maybe he's not good at this, not good at that. But at the end of the day,
You can't say
PFF.
that word. You cannot say that word on my show. The Giants, you could say that analytic company, we are not giving them any free press. They are morons.
They're
We
only
are
getting
not-
bad
we-
press on this
All right.
show.
Well, look, let's all right. So you're comfortable with all the moves. You think they've done enough in free agency. Spiro, kicking it to you. What's your thought?
Yeah. So again, it goes down to expectations. If most of our fan base and our younger fan base right now seems to have this ridiculous expectation that we're going to be top of the free agency market every year. I personally think we did enough. Listen, we know we're not going to the Super Bowl next year unless we got a miracle run in us. We got to build this thing step by step. Now, Gettleman went out, didn't spend a ton of money, put us in nice contracts all 3 years, didn't tie up a whole lot of money. Like Mike said already, 2016, we went after the big stars. We spent the big money. That got us one playoff appearance, and we got blown out round one. So, and you got nothing else to show for it but bad contracts and bad cap hits the rest of the way. Personally, like I said, I love it. You got DJ and you got Jones and Barkley under cheap contracts. You get another crack at it next year. We didn't spend a whole lot of money. You're gonna, like I said, build it up. You get the big piece next year, or you get the big piece in 2022. To me, we solved the middle linebacker spot from a run standpoint, like Antonio Pierce-like player in Blake Martinez. I was skeptical at first. The contract isn't bad. He's young. He knows what he's doing. Yeah, and listen, he played well under Graham, and Graham is now our defensive coordinator.
100%.
So you got that relationship already. Graham knows what he does good. Judge said, "Listen, show me what a guy does well." You put Blake Martinez in the middle. Let him do what he does well.
You got 30 seconds. Give me more about the rest of the crew that they signed.
Right, a cornerback, Bradbury, huge fan. Gettleman knows him, knows what he wants. Fackrell, he's a golden clone in my opinion. Got a 1-year deal. Was coached by Graham. Come in here he had a double-digit sack year in 2018. You got a blocking tight end in Toilolo and 2 quality depth guys in Colt McCoy and Deion Lewis.
Ebner.
I think he did a bang-up job.
Jeff, you're up.
Yeah, we added some nice pieces. Did we do enough to become legit contenders? No, but that's not really our goal right now. We knew that this thing was being torn down and we had to build it from the ground up. But I like our philosophy. I like the way we're going about things. Hopefully, as you guys mentioned, we learned from 2016. We're not trying to break the bank to get some shiny toys to compete and then fizzle out and then basically suffocate on those contracts, which let's give Gettleman a little bit of slack. He was dealt a horrendous hand coming in here with those huge contracts without drafting well. We didn't draft well in a really long time. So I like what we're building. I like the pieces we added. You can see there's a shift in philosophy. Getting guys like Martinez, who, he's like a general on the field. He's going to fight hard. He's a good stand-up guy. No off-the-field stuff, none of that. Like, I like that about him. Bradbury, I love that pickup. So I think we're getting there. It's not like we did enough for this offseason, yes, because we still have some money to spend. We didn't break the bank. There's so much arguing going on Twitter about go get this guy, go get that guy. Like, relax.
Yeah.
I think we're finally realizing this is a process. So let's enjoy the process. We did enough this offseason. It was a good offseason so far in free agency. I like the pieces we added. You got to think this is a much better team than we had on the field last year already with the draft to go. So I feel good about it.
Wow, and you come in under time. Nothing else? You got that's it? Am I going to absorb your time? I will tell you this. Something that nobody really talks about. Fackrell had 10.5 sacks 2 years ago. So, again, I'm not sure what to make of him, but I will tell you that if a guy has 10.5 sacks, his defensive coordinator or his position coach leaves, and then a guy has 2 sacks, I mean, there's something there to say that this guy can rush the passer. He might be a little bit of a diamond in the rough. He may be Marcus Golden part 2 for all we know. But the good thing is that, like, I think they did just enough, which is fine by me, because you know what? I'm gotten to the point where you guys know, and if you don't know, I think everyone in the world knows, like, I don't think I've ever disliked a player more than I liked Olivier Vernon. I just, I hate to say, I'm sure the guy's a great guy, but I mean, you got paid $80 million for 3.5 tackles a game. I mean, like, I'm sorry, like, that's just not what the Giants need. They don't need that big shiny toy like Clowney. I mean, if Clowney comes here, my head might split in two. So, I mean, it's just, I had a
unless he's cheap as hell somehow.
Correct. Yeah, sure. But even then, I don't even think he's the right locker room guy. You know what I mean? Because right now, this reminds me of some of those early Yankees teams where your role players make the difference, right? And some of these guys like Fackrell, might make a difference. He might be so I think, yes, they did just enough. I love Martinez. I don't think anybody realizes on Twitter what a middle linebacker actually does. So I'm a big fan of what he's going to do. And any guy who can average 147 tackles for 3 straight years and then contribute with 8 sacks, I mean, guy went to Stanford. Okay.
The people that say he's an Ogletree clone, that's just lazy.
Oh,
it's just lazy talk right there,
Thank you. And I don't want to go down the rabbit hole on it, but I tell you this, Spiro, you nailed it. There is not one, and I'm pausing for dramatic effect. There is not one similarity between them at all. I mean, nothing. Not age, not college, not style of play, not average tackles, not anything. Not weight, not size, not anything. Maybe they both like their mom is cooking. Maybe. But they
ask a quick question. Where are we with Golden? Why hasn't he been signed? Where is he going? Do you want to see him signed for 10.5 a year?
I will tell you this. This is what I can tell you that I saw about 45 minutes ago, an hour ago, and I shot, Jordan a note. Sometimes he responds to me. Not very often. I think he thinks I'm a pain in the ass. But and I am a pain in the ass. But I will tell you this. The quote was, and it was interesting because he didn't put quotations around the whole tweet. So if you go back and look for it, I'll look at it. As the show goes, I'll pull it up for you. But he says, we're not in a position to do that right now. That was the quote. And then Jordan added adding on a big pass rusher. So he didn't say it, but he was somewhat alluding to the fact that other guys are going to need contracts like, Ingram and Barkley and these guys
Jones,
get. So you can read into this all you want. I don't know why Golden's not signed. I don't know.
It's his asking price.
Yeah,
maybe a little too high.
Might be. All right. Well, let's keep moving. All right. So let's Jeff, you got my list there. Yep. I'm going to let you fire that next question. Oh, no, actually, I do have it. I was just going to look something up, but never mind. All right. So let's That was free agency. After free agency comes,
We draft.
thank you, sir. Sirs.
The virtual draft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Don't
gonna be
get me
Fantasy
started
football
on-
draft.
Yeah. All right.
Basically.
So let's basically just take it by the impact for the Giants. What position do the Giants most need to draft? It's kind of at this point in the game, it seems to be from the fan base one of two positions or even one of two players. So I'm going to start, Spiro, I'm going to start with you. Give me position, because I know there's that whole best player available thing. So give me position and then player.
All right. So, you see both sides of the coin. It's down to Simmons or the 4 tackles for just about everybody. I haven't really seen much else. You could throw in Nakuda and all the other guys. But, I'd be happy with either. Obviously, for me, give me Simmons. I need that defensive playmaker. Gettleman goes back to and says the reason why he took Barkley is you want that gold jacket player when you're drafting top 5. I love all the tackles. Give me Wirfs or Wills. Sure, I'll be happy. But they're not coming through with gold jacket type potential in my eyes. You see a guy like Simmons, he could change the game. He changes the game from coverage standpoint. He can get after the passer. He could run sideline to sideline, end zone to end zone. He makes up for defensive mistakes. He's an eraser. And that's what you need in this league. He runs all over the field. We haven't had a special defensive talent like that since number 92, Strahan, retired. This guy, golden jacket type player, give me him, and then you build a defense around that kind of guy. That's the kind of talent that he is. And, he shined in the ACC. He shined in the CFB playoffs. He just stands out, and that's the kind of guy you need. A guy like LT comes in here, not saying he's a comparison. LT changed his defense day one. You need a guy that's going to come in and give this defense something that, the fans something to cheer about.
Let me ask you this. I've got 40 seconds. Let me ask you this, Spiro. So that's the player you want. He's a hybrid safety linebacker. They say he can play
He
inside.
just plays defense. Position is defense in my eyes.
Correct, Mr.
Yeah.
Gettleman. But my question is do the Giants need a linebacker or a potential strong safety?
See, if you're saying strictly position, if you're going strictly position, I'd say you need a tackle. If I was going strictly by what position they need, you need to shore up that blind spot for Jones, and you need to give Barkley someone to pave the holes. If I was going strictly position, I'm going offensive tackle. If I'm going player, I'm going with my man Simmons. I'm in full bloom love. What can I say?
Oh, gentlemen. All right. Mike B, go.
Well said. I think that when you start reaching for positions is when you get into trouble. So I do believe that tackle is the biggest need, but I do not believe that means they should automatically use the 4th pick on it. You look at the last time they had a great offensive line and it was a strength of this team, not one of those guys was first rounders, right? David Beal, Sean O'Hara, Chris Nee was a second rounder. None of those guys. McKenzie, right? None of those guys were first rounders. So you can get guys later. Just because it's the biggest need doesn't mean they need to use a 4th pick on it. With that said, if one of those 4 tackles Gettleman falls in love with, I don't think it'd be a bad pick. But I do believe, as what you were saying, that Simmons comes in and day one is more of a sure thing of impacting the team right away than one of these tackles. The tackles maybe could be more boom or bust. So offensive line is the biggest need, though. Needs to be addressed in the first 3 rounds, no matter which route they go. It has to be. They can't not pick an offensive lineman for the first 3 rounds.
So you're comfortable going defense first round, but then second or third round, you definitely have to find a tackle.
Totally, definitely.
Or a center.
Center, tackle, one of the two.
All right. They're yielding their time for you, Jeff, so you're getting some extra time. Go.
I'm not worried about the time, okay? If I make my point, I'll make my point. But listen, whether you think we need to get a defensive playmaker or offensive line, you're absolutely right. This team has holes. This is why we're in this place. For me, you got to go tackle. You got to go offensive line heavy in the first 4 rounds. When you think about Daniel Jones, your franchise guy, you have to protect him. Barkley had nowhere to run last year. how many times did we try to run up the gut and there's just nowhere to go? Like, it was driving me crazy. And you look at Pat Shurmur, like it's his fault, but the line, there's nowhere to run. So offensive line is huge for me. Once you control time of possession, you see other things open up. Your defense is rested. Everyone on your defense becomes better when they have more rest. And you don't have to look outside the division to look at Dallas. Look at their formula over the last 6 or 7 years. They did invest heavily in the offensive line. I don't have the stats, but I know they use a few first rounders on that offensive line, and look at the dividends. They would just murder people by running the ball, run it down their throat. They grew a better defense over time, but originally their defense was bad, but their offense would just chew up the clock so much the other offense wasn't on the field. So it's a formula that worked for them. They had that diesel O-line. They have the running back. So, like, I know we're going to get into assistant coaches and what I really want to see about Jason Garrett later on, but you can steal a little bit about that formula, start to build an offensive line. You have to invest. It makes the entire team better. I want to see Daniel Jones protected. I got to see Barkley with some more space. But for me, it's offensive line all day. That money we gave to Nate Solder keeps me up at night sometimes based on how he played. And I think there's a soft spot because of what he was going through personally, which I understand. But he has so much to live up to with the contract that he was given. You know, he's not even close to earning, top paid tackle of all time. So we have so much work to do on that offensive line. It's going to make the whole team better when you build a strong unit from there.
Here's my counterpoint, though. Just one counterpoint, real quick. Arguably, I think that a center is almost as huge as a tackle, in my opinion, because center is a quarterback of that whole offensive line, and you put someone good in between those two guards, who, in my opinion, have not all pro, but Pro Bowl potential. You get a solid core up the middle, and you can get that center in the second round. Granted, we need a tackle, of course, but for me, give me a center in the second round, and you take a risk on a third in the third round, maybe, or trade back, get that tackle later. Give me that center. In that second round.
I hear you.
That's
and
what I'm going for.
I won't be upset if they do that, and I won't be upset if they grab Simmons at 4 and then trade back into the first round and get some offensive line there. So there's a lot of different ways it can go, and we have needs everywhere. So it's just your preference, what you think is going to make the team the best. But for me, I want to see us dominate at the line of scrimmage.
It's all about getting good players, too. I think the Cowboys made the investment, but a guy like Zach Martin, we made the investment and got Eric Flowers, right? So it's about getting the right guy, too, and not just using a top pick on somebody.
Right.
Good point.
I think that ultimately the center point's a really good one, but I think center, left tackle, those positions have to be addressed at some point in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
So I want you guys to entertain this for a second. I'm sure, like, you read my manic tweets, but there actually a lot of thought goes into what I see on Sundays. So I want you to entertain this concept for a sec. In 2 years ago, and not that last year was any different, but 2 years ago, the Giants were winning against it was the Eagles, Carolina.
Both.
It escapes me too. Well, there's 4 games. The Giants lost in the last 3 minutes of 4 games.
Colts game.
There you go. Jacksonville, Indianapolis, Eagles, and Tennessee.
Carolina. Yeah.
They lost those games in the last 3 or 4 minutes of the game because the team could not get off the field. Okay? So here's what I want you guys to entertain. I'm not trying to change your mind, but I at least want you to entertain what I'm saying, is that Daniel Jones threw for 24 touchdowns, and he had 3,000 yards. And every single skill player was out at least half the year. Tate was out 4 games. Barkley was out. Shepard was out. Ellison was out. Ingram's always out. Okay? So with a bad shoulder and Hernandez is stuck between Pio, who's terrible, and Solder, who's having a bad year. It makes Hernandez look bad. Okay? And then a rotating door on the right side. With all that said, you still had 24 touchdowns, 3,000 yards, and 1,000-yard rusher who missed, 4 games, right? So the offense, while it needs to dominate, and I agree, Jeff, I'd love to see that. But right now, if you score 31 points, your opponent's gonna score 32 points because you can't get off the field. The Giants, more than anything, more than any position, need to rust the passer. They need a disruptor. Simmons is not that guy. Okay, he is the guy who will make the defense better. Him and Martinez are going to combine for almost 300 tackles put together. So, he might be the guy, okay, because he's got the most talent. His closing speed is disgusting, okay, and the guy loves football. And I love football players. That's why I'll always love Landon Collins. Wish he was here. He went to Washington. He did nothing, right? But my point is that if you don't add a piece onto the Giants' defense, they're not going to be able to get off the field, and Golden's gone. So are you telling me that you're depending on Fackrell to be your number one pass rusher? Like I understand the defensive tackles, but again, all I want to do is I need a player. So here's my thought. You draft whoever at 4, right? And then I don't care if you go deep offensive tackle or center in the 2nd, 3rd, 4th round. I don't care if you bring in 5, okay? For the rest of the draft could be tackles. Draft one in every round. Just give me one defensive player that steps on the field and makes an impact on day one. So we don't have to get our ass blown out every single week because they can't stop it. And I'll even go as far as to say this. They were the 4th worst team in the NFL against the rush. They let up 19 rushing touchdowns. Okay? You say it's a passing league? They gave up 114 points on the ground. They need a playmaker to force the quarterback to throw against Bradbury and Baker and Beal. And if you don't have time, we're a better team. So I think Simmons is like the pick, but he's not the pick I want. The Giants need
Fair.
Chase Young, but won't be able to get him. Right?
Unless
That's what
Washington
it's
does
looking
something
like.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like the Giants need the next Strahan. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
They need the next OCU Manure. They need the next JPP. Getting the next I don't know, like Simmons is a confusing cat to me.
I would
Yeah.
say Derwin James is a good – if you guys seen what Derwin James is
Yep.
doing out in San Diego,
Yep.
he's just a kind of jack of all trades, kind of Charles Woodson-like,
Yeah.
but bigger. You know,
And I'm okay with it. I'm okay with it. All I'm saying is I know there's a need for a tackle. But if you're telling me that Daniel Jones is going to give me another 24 touchdowns and he adds another 1,000 yards on, we're all taking it. Like, how much more do you want out of your sophomore? And this isn't directly you. This is just in general, that if he throws for 30 touchdowns and 4,000 yards, who's complaining?
it's doable.
Yeah,
Definitely
but we'll still lose 10 games, 11 games if we can't stop the other team. So I'm only planting a seed now. I don't want to get sucked into it because I go all day. All right. You guys, in case you forgot or you don't know, you're listening to the Giants guys, the new and improved Giants guys. Though maybe I'll get Fennelly to sit in with us one of these weeks because we do plan on doing this on a regular basis. I hope these guys will join me every week during the season, off season. Maybe we do every other week, or at least maybe we do every week leading to the draft. And then, because we're all stuck at home doing nothing anyway. What better things do you have to do than watch the Giants guys? All right. And I don't know. I don't have anything better to do. So let's look at this. So I'm looking at this list that I sent Jeff and you guys. Something that's kind of near and dear to me because I'm excited about the coaching change. So Jeff, I'm going to start off with you. I want to know of all the new coaches that we brought in. I mean, we brought in, Jason Garrett and Freddie Kitchens and Colombo, which was the offensive line coach for the Cowboys and played for the Cowboys. And then there's, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag because I have my guy. Who's your favorite new addition? Nick Judge doesn't count. So what assistant coach are you most jazzed about?
Well, I love Judge, by the way, but it's Jason Garrett for a million reasons. I absolutely cannot wait to see this guy. And it's funny, when we're doing our head coaching search, I'm like, don't even think about hiring Jason Garrett for my head coach. But then when they're like, coordinator, I'm like, hell yeah, that's the guy. I mean, He knows the Giants well. He's
Yeah.
been in the division for over a decade, I think.
Yeah.
The guy had success, even though they didn't have a lot of playoff success. They beat a lot of teams. They were competitive for
They
a
beat
really
the
long
Giants
time.
every time.
Dude, they've been crushing us. I'm going to keep it PG here, but like they have been crushing us for too long, man. We have so much ground to make up in our division for the beatings we've been taking from them and the Eagles. But Dallas built a culture of having a strong O-line, having a great running back, and nothing spectacular at the quarterback position. I think Daniel Jones has the potential to be much better than Dak Prescott overall. I think what Jason Garrett brings is how to run an offense through your most talented players. Saquon Barkley could look like a different guy next season. He could, he seemed to struggle with space and try to make too much out of a play, and that's when he gets injured. That's when everybody gets injured. I think Tiki Barber was a master at knowing when the play was over and getting underneath the big hit and avoiding
Or
that
run out of
big hit.
bounds.
And he was a master at that, but he stayed healthy for the most part.
Mhm.
I'm excited about Jason Garrett. He's an ex-Giant. He once wore a Giants uniform.
Yes, he did.
He's
Princeton
got,
boy.
He's got the good culture. The players seem to like him. He seems to be a great fit. I think he's great for Judge because Judge is a rookie head coach. He's bringing that head coaching experience with him. He's an ex-quarterback. That's huge for Daniel Jones to be able to speak like that. I took my full time. But it's Jason Garrett a million times over.
Mike B, Joe, go.
I love the Garrett thing. I love former head coaches that are on staffs, not as a head coach in the future. And you hit that one out of the park. So I'm going to take someone different. I'm going to go with Jerry Shaplinski. I hope I'm saying his name right. The quarterback.
Nice.
Look at you.
He was with Brady, Garoppolo, and Brissett when they were all together in New England. And if you listen to Garoppolo talk about his time under Brady and his learning and his tutelage, he gives a lot of the credit to Shaplinski, whatever, Jerry Shaplinski. And, easy to coach Tom Brady, right? Bill Belichick's the head coach, but he's the guy that's working with the backup specifically day in and day out. And then what happens with Brissett? He goes on, has a couple moments for the Colts, right? And then Garoppolo was going to be the heir apparent to Brady until, he gets shipped to the Niners. And he ended up, he wasn't the main guy on that team, but he ended up being the quarterback on a team that's in the Super Bowl. And again, if you just hear him talk, he gives a lot of credit to the quarterback coach. Daniel Jones is young. One of the biggest things with young quarterbacks is they go through 7 systems and 7 seasons these days because head coaches are changed. Like I changed my sneakers. And ultimately, like, he's going to bring stability to Jones. He's going to help to run Garrett's offense. And I think Garrett's going to be a big influence as well. But this is exactly the type of guys that Joe Judge needs. Teachers. He wants guys that can teach guys the fundamentals. And I think that's what they're getting.
Go ahead, Spiro Rocket.
I'm glad that you guys both had different guys. We're spreading it out here. I'm going to go Colombo. This guy is not just your average coach that just comes in. He was a first-round pick back in the day. He had a rough career of injuries, but guys like other coaches that have been through the stuff with them, and he's been in the trenches. So you had him coaching up one of the best O-lines in the league in Dallas for the past couple of years. Like I said, he's experienced. He knows what he's doing. Now what you have is you have a young Hernandez who needs to bounce back. He hasn't got the best coaching. I love Colombo working with Hernandez. Coaching. Yeah, right, exactly. So if we're drafting an offensive tackle and a center this year, you have these young minds, these guys that need to be molded into one unit. I like Colombo coming in here. I think offensive line coach is one of the most underrated position coaches in the NFL across the board. You have a guy like a Colombo who's had success before elsewhere, coming with all these young guys, and he's going to mold them. This is going to be our front for the next couple of years with your center that you draft this year, hopefully, your offensive tackle you draft this year, hopefully. You got Hernandez, a Zietler who's a consummate pro already, and then you add another tackle next year. You got all these first, second, third-year guys that need coaching, need top-level coaching, and I think Colombo's going to be it. So once I saw his name, I was on board with that pick from before he even signed. Once we got him, I was like, this is a home run out of the park right there. He's familiar with Garrett's offense. Sign me up.
Yeah, he was my second guy. I was totally excited about the fact. And if you listen to any of his interviews, he's all about being tough.
He's intense.
He's like, I need my guys hitting other guys. And
Yep.
I'm like, oh, okay, a guy that's not gonna, Hal Hunter. Come on.
Right.
All right. Are you guys ready for this? I'm gonna play this. I'm hoping, Jeff, this might totally mess your editing up, but I'm gonna give this a shot, okay?
All right.
All right. Oh, actually, you know what, Jeff? No, wait. Jeff, did you go yet?
Yeah, he got
You
Garrett right off
started.
the bat.
All right, I'm
I
gonna try
started that
this.
round. We're
Ready?
back to the top of the order now. Yeah.
I'm a very intense coach. I always ask the guys and tell them that they need to match my intensity in practice and in games. And there's not one situation where I come on to practice field, and I'm like, oh, I'm bored, or I'm excited to go to practice. Every day is an opportunity for me to make a young man better. Those people who are successful wake up with passion for what they do. We all have those days when we get those momentary days, those moments of weakness, right? But if you have a great attitude and to start your day, everything else is going to go the right way. That's the way I approach it, and that's the way I want those guys to play and approach practice. I'm bringing in guys that believe in the things that I believe in, the things that Coach Franklin believes in, and I think when you got a united front like that, when you got guys that believe the same way, it's hard to beat them. There's an expectation that when the defensive line goes out there for a game, that we take everything to the next level, and that the expectation is that we're gonna compete and we're gonna put on a show every week that we're out there. I mean, we've been here 5 years, and 1 year we were the number one rush defense in the country, and another year we've been the top sack team in the country. Over the past 3 years, we've had 40 or more sacks in every season, and we're on our way to doing that this year also.
Love it.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Come
Gotta
on.
make it run through a wall.
Yo, that's legit. I mean, that he's telling you right now. I got 4 defensive linemen, and they're gonna hit you in the mouth. I mean, look, this guy's gonna bring it. I mean, listen, you're gonna see a whole different defense. Look, I'm a big fan of B.J. Hill. Okay, I'll tell you, his rookie year, he broke the sack record for rookies for defensive tackles. We didn't hear anything from him last year. I don't know what happened. He doesn't strike me as a lazy player. He's a community guy. He's always doing stuff with charity. I don't know what happened, how he got in the doghouse. But I will tell you that Dexter Lawrence, B.J. Hill, Tomlinson, these guys are going to get after it. I'm telling you, that guy right there, Spencer, he's legit, man. He's
I
legit.
like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
And because we're so defensive tackle heavy, that's why I'm excited. Without him, I'd be kind of like, I don't know. This guy's all about. You heard the stats. He took Penn State from nothing. With pressures, sacks, everything. So yeah, that's my guy. I'm like, I hope that shows up good when you edit that up, because man, that guy makes me want to put some pads on.
It makes me want to play too.
What I like about all these coaches, they all seem to be intense, 1, and 2, teachers. They like, that's been a problem for the Giants coaching staff for the past 3, 4, or 5 years. Nobody's developed under them. So you got teachers now that will actually hopefully develop these players and develop them the right way with a great mindset from Judge on down.
Yeah, that's huge. I think a lot of the drafts have been shitty, right, from in years past. I think people give Gettleman a lot of heat. I think he put together back-to-back pretty decent drafts. And to your point, the development of these guys is going to be huge.
Yeah, great point. 2 best in my eyes. And again, as your elder, I can tell you that it's the best 2 drafts since 2007.
Yeah. That's fair.
So, so I'm excited. And you're right. One of you guys just nailed it. Yeah. Bringing guys in that want to teach. The players aren't running the locker room. They're not bringing in veterans to coach guys up. They're bringing in teachers and they're going to let guys play where they're good at. You know what I mean? Like, stop sticking round pegs in square holes.
Right.
So Yeah, so I'm pretty pumped about that because we are defensive tackle heavy. So to see a guy like, hey man, this is what I do. I'm excited for that. So
Yeah.
I love the whole staff he put together. They all
Yeah,
Yeah.
all good choices, really.
Yeah, like Judge's first press conference had me so pumped up. And then you
Yeah.
look at the staff he put together and like you see it like coming together. I could see Judge being our coach for a decade plus. I could see these guys sticking around and building something strong here. Like I love it.
I'll even go as far to say this, and you guys can jump all over me if you find it that I'm crazy. But if he put together this staff himself without any influence, because that's what Mara had said, they were letting him pick his guys. I'll be honest with you, what I'm most impressed is that he put together a staff that when guys want to leave, there's a guy to step in his shoes. Because if Garrett goes out and gets another head coaching job, you got Kitchens to step in. You got Colombo to step in. Like, you're not stepping down. So he built the staff saying, if any of these guys want to be head coaches, I'm not losing any quality.
Right.
Because
Agreed.
I think, as Mike said about changing his sneakers, you got right? It was you, Mike, I think.
Yeah.
Guys change coordinators too much. So these guys, if one leaves, you're not losing any quality, with Kitchens or Colombo stepping in.
Right. Agreed.
Make sense?
Yeah, definitely.
good point.
Judge also said he's not going to have guys that have like ulterior motives, like that are looking out for me and looking for that next job. So I'm sure he really vetted that out when he sat down and talked to them about what their motivations are and just coming to work every day.
The Giants guys are on fire. Giants guys, 2020, Zoom style. Man, I don't know why I didn't do this sooner. All right.
Quarantine
I wasn't
life.
sure these guys could actually talk. That's it. I know they're good writers, but I wasn't sure that they could talk. All right.
One
so
last thing.
let's-
If the Giants add Simmons, you got to think Judge is going to know how to use that guy.
Right.
Like, you got to be excited about that. Like,
Graham's a smart guy too. Everybody says
Yeah.
he's the smartest guy in the room, so they're gonna figure it out.
Yeah.
Tell me what
that-
they do good.
That's why I won't be upset if they go that direction. If they go
Yeah.
heavy offensive line after that, I'll sleep fine at night. But it's exciting, man. I love
Right.
the staff.
I'll read you the quote, and I had to look this up because I knew somebody, and Spiro just brought it up. I knew somebody was going to bring up Graham, right? So check this out. I went back and looked at his press conference when he got the job in Green Bay, and I pulled his audio and I wrote it down. He said, and I'm gonna it's chicken scratch, but I'm gonna read it to you anyway. He says the most important things are tackles, leverage, and beating blocks. Get your eyes in the right place and read your keys, because at the end of the day, that's what football is. He didn't say it's a passing league and you
Right.
need to be an off-ball linebacker. Nonsense. Don't want to hear any more off-ball linebacker crap. Like beating blocks. And if I can always find the audio for you. He must have said it 7 times in his press conference. You know what? No matter where you play on the field, you got to get off a block. If you're a DB, wide receivers are stalk blocking you. Linebackers, you got tight ends chipping you. You got to be able to get off your block and get your eyes in the right spot. So, yeah, he's going to put Martinez in the right spot. And if he gets Simmons or any guy for that matter, I think that Graham's going to do a great job in getting these guys. That's why I'm heavy on one more defensive piece I think makes a major difference. And I don't want to circle back around and dive down the rabbit hole because I do tend to do that. But it just dawned on me a minute ago, and I want you guys to think about this for later, is you draft an offensive tackle, there's no guarantee he starts. You're going to draft an offensive tackle with the first round. They're paying Solder $19 million a year. Solder's going to get an opportunity to start and save his job. You're going to draft a tackle in the first round, and he may sit. Is that going to be okay with everybody when you're losing by 4 touchdowns? Like,
If one of those tackles is the guy, they'll figure it out. He'll either play right tackle or he'll play left tackle and
Right.
Solder will play right tackle.
maybe. It's
it's
always
food for
possible.
thought, especially
yeah.
after Gettleman says how much he likes Gates today. Gates is going to have a shot at that right tackle spot. I think.
Spiro, guess what? Guess what I found out? Guess what I found out today?
What's that?
He's gonna also try to center.
Yeah, I hear that he took a couple snaps at center too. I didn't know where people were coming up with that, but if he's that versatile,
Gates.
he might have a chance at one of those spots.
I'll give credit where it's due. one of our colleagues out here in Giants land, Bobby Skinner. I'm sure you guys either follow him or whatever. Bobby's a pretty good cat, and I think was it him or one of his guys sent Gates a tweet that said, "Are you snapping?" And Gates tweeted it like, liked it. It says, like this if you're snapping, and he liked it. So it kind of took a life of its own.
Uh-huh.
But there might be some center action for Gates.
I dig that.
Why not?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, centers, like you mentioned, it's a very important position because you're the quarterback. So
Right.
I don't know how many guys can just pick it up and do it, but it's interesting, right?
I love how he played at right tackle. I gotta be honest with you. Every time he's out there, he did a great job. Not great job, he did a good job, serviceable.
Better than Wheeler and Remmers?
Yeah. Well, he's right up there, if not better.
All right. We ready for next one?
Let's do it.
All right, you're listening to the Giants, guys, and you're going to be able to listen to this podcast. We're going to tweet it out, chuck it on iTunes, Stitcher, and all those places that you get your podcast. Get a chance, check out nygiantsrush.com. And all these guys down here, or maybe up there, I guess depends on where I'm at in the queue, maybe over there.
That's me.
Yeah. So support these guys. Follow these guys. Engage them. They'll engage you back. They put a lot of time and effort into the content. Free content, by the way. So get a chance, follow them, check out what they do, and support the Giants guys. Next one was going to be, and we're going to start off with you, Jeff. Who's going to have a breakout year? 2020. Who's the breakout player for the Giants in 2020?
He may have been my favorite Giant from last year, Darius Slayton. My favorite Giant of all time is Victor Cruz because of his story.
Tell the story.
Oh.
Tell the story, Jeff.
All right. My wife is Spanish, and when we started dating in 2010. So it was like right in Victor Cruz time when he came on board and he just lit the world on fire. And at that Super Bowl, when he caught the touchdown, she ran to me from the other side of the party and starts doing the salsa right in front of me. And I looked at my dad and I'm like, yeah, I'm going to marry her. That's it. That's it.
That's amazing.
What else could you want? In a wife?
Yeah, Jeff told me that story. I was like, oh, this guy's a keeper. And then I started thinking, I'm like, wait, maybe his wife, I should hire his wife.
She knows nothing about football, but that makes it even better that she knew to do that.
That's awesome.
She knew Victor Cruz. No, but Darius Slayton, I don't know if it's his body type, the way he runs, the way he runs routes. I know there's slightly different body types, but Darius Slayton really reminds me of him. And maybe it's because I want him to remind me of Victor Cruz. I don't know. But the dude's just gained more and more confidence as the year went on. He started to become a legit threat. I mean, the guy had 8 touchdowns last year as a 5th-round pick rookie.
And no one's talking about him.
Right. Yeah. Which is fine. And if you're an opposing defense, you're going to look at stopping Golden Tate, Shepard. He might be the 3rd guy you're worried about, but he's going to kill you. He's going to burn you. The dude's got a different gear that we saw a couple times. I love how he torched Philly. We wound up losing in overtime, but he had 154 yards and 2 touchdowns. Give me that all day.
And by the way, he won't be the 3rd guy for long.
No.
Right. Right, which makes everyone else better, right? If you're going to leave Golden Tate single coverage or Shepard, we'll figure that out. But I love the guy to have an even bigger year. He had only 48 catches, so he wasn't a featured guy. What I think is going to right itself is he would have a huge game, then be kind of quiet for 2 games, then blow up and be quiet for a game or 2. I think that evens out, and you're going to see him be a legitimate threat all year. I like him for 12 touchdowns next year, and I see him hitting the 1,000-yard mark too.
Go ahead, Mike B. Jump in. Who's your breakout player?
Yeah, I love Slayton. You could just tell he could play. Lorenzo Carter, I'm going with Carter. I think that we talked about how
what
we need a pass rush. Simmons, if they get him, he's not that guy, right? We need a big pass rusher. We're losing Golden. I think no player on the team was done a disservice. Maybe B.J. Hill more from this coaching staff, this previous regime, in terms of putting your players in a position to utilize your strengths. Carter, as a rookie, had flashed more brilliance as a pass rusher. He's a pure pass rusher. They're loaded with defensive tackles, and it's looking like their first pick is either going to be an offensive tackle or Simmons. And I think Carter's just going to be primed for a big season and a breakout year. He's young, he's big, he's got the athletic ability. And I think that he's going to be a big beneficiary of this coaching staff. So give me Carter for double-digit sacks.
Nice.
Did you say double-digit sacks?
Hold on, I'm writing that down. I got it.
Write it down. Write it down.
Mark it down.
Mike B says double-digit sacks.
11 and a half. 11
I like the confidence, my friend. I like
11
the
and a half. Let me get that down.
Yeah, make sure we write that down. All right. Go ahead, Spiro. Jump in.
All right. Well, yeah, I was torn between two guys. You know, I wanted to go with an offensive lineman, but it's just not flashy enough. So I'm gonna just go ahead with O'Shane Ximines. You know, I just think that he came on last year, and you could tell he just didn't have the NFL body yet, but he knows how to get after the quarterback. That much is for sure. And he had 4.5 sacks rookie year, and small school. It was going to take a time. It was supposed to be a development year for him, and they just threw him into a fire. So he got his snaps. The game's going to slow down for him this year. He's going to bulk up a little bit. You're going to put him in situations where he's just going to get after the passer. The passer specialist. That's what he is. And I think Graham's going to use him in the right spots. You know, play him in different areas, left, right, side, doesn't matter. And he's going to just do one thing: get after the quarterback. I'm not going to go as crazy as double-digit sacks, but I could see him doubling his output, you know, coming up around 8 to 9 sacks this year, and really picking up the slack where it's needed, because you know it's Fackrell, it's Carter, and we need Ximines to take that next step if we're going to have some kind of pass rush this year, and I think he's going to be that guy.
Combined, him and Carter and Ximines, 15 sacks combined.
That's a fair number.
That goes back to the coaching staff too. You got to love the coaches that are going to
Yeah.
figure out how to put these guys in the right spot.
I love the fact, you know, first player ever drafted at ODU.
Yeah.
So I'm a big fan of just that in general. I like him a lot, and believe it or not, when I watch him play, at least when I go to the stadium, not as much on TV because I don't get to see him as much on TV because of the camera angles, but his body style and play, and I'm not saying he's this guy. I'm not, all right, but he has the potential to play like Strahan because he's very stout and strong. He's got a great bull rush. I think he has very limited technique right now. Like if I was the Giants, I'd bring in Strahan in camp and to teach him, to push him, because when I do watch him play, take on tackles, like he has that early Strahan thing. I can see, like, I don't see the finishing move as Strahan got, 2005, 2006, 2007, those last 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. But those early years of Strahan, he didn't finish as much because he hadn't perfected all the swim move and the shoulder dip and the power rush. But when I see him body-wise, how thick he is, he reminds me a little bit of Strahan. Now, Strahan at the end lost a ton of weight after he tore that pec and stuff. But I don't know. I agree with you, Spiro. He's not my guy. He's not my guy. And I'm also torn between two guys. And I'm going to let you guys pick, okay? One is Dexter Lawrence because of how awesome the D-line coach is. But my favorite is Love. And I will tell you why. So Julian Love was a Thorpe Trophy runner-up, okay? Went to Notre Dame. Guy was a great college player. Played some corner, played some safety, right? Guy's a baller. Smart kid. You don't just go to Notre Dame if you can't read defenses. And it took him, ready? Pause for dramatic effect. It took him 10 weeks to get on the field. Like there was no reason on God's green earth that poor kid had to sit the bench. And they gave you every, as Jeff would say, the PG version, they gave you every, bleep, excuse under the book. The guy starts and gets an interception in his first game on the field.
That was awesome. That was so great.
I mean, and he's a great open field tackler. Now, did he make some mistakes? Sure he is. I mean, the kid's been sitting for 10 weeks. He's ice cold. But, like, believe it or not, I'm not sure how it's going to unfold because of the defense and Graham talking about they're going to play the 3-4 and the 4-3 and some hybrid stuff. I think Peppers and Love are on the field at the same time, one free, one strong, but I don't really think that they're going to make them free and strong. I think they're just going to make them safeties.
Yeah, interchangeable.
Yeah,
I agree.
Because they're both very rangy. They're both, definitely Love better around the ball than Peppers. But, hey, Peppers had a pick six this last year. I'm a big fan of Julian Love. And like I said, I almost felt bad for the kid, why he couldn't get – like the same thing with B.J. Hill. No one knows what happened with B.J. Hill. There's no reason why. I'm sure B.J. Hill is really happy. And I'm assuming Julian Love is probably really happy because there's no reason why he wasn't on the field. And if I'm not mistaken, he had 2 or 3 interceptions in the last couple of games.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, both had to play next to Bethea. So now, if you pair those two together, Peppers and Love, that's what I want to see right there.
I'm shaking my head violently.
Well, Craig, you started that movement like 3 weeks before he went in with the hashtag Put Love In. I'm like, let's get it going.
Seriously, I was like, every time this is what would happen. I would see the back of Bethea's jersey running down the field. I was like, I was like, for the love of God, put Love in the game.
Brutal.
You must have been so happy when he got that
they would
pick.
be Bethea. That's all I would see was his number in the back of his jersey. And I'm like, listen, I'm sure this cat can play somewhere. It's just not at safety. And I'm like, and then I'm looking at Love standing on the sidelines, and I'm like, someone, must have did something because this kid needs to get in. We did. And you know what? We'll have another player next year with his own hash mark. There's a hashtag because after a while, Jeff's like, yup, put Love in.
You're right. Then he gets a pick, and I'm like, see, guys? Got to listen.
Yeah. I felt like Jeff. I felt like the smartest man in the room. No, I'm never the smartest man in the room. I sure felt like it at the time.